Welcome to Movies Explained. Today I will tell you about a really cool and interesting movie. Sit back, relax, and enjoy, and look out for spoilers. Also, please leave a like on this video, as it really helps. Jack Hall, an American paleoclimatologist, and his colleagues Frank and Jason drill for ice core samples in the Larsen ice shelf for the NOAA. When the ice shelf suddenly begins to split away. At a UN conference in New Delhi, Jack discusses his research showing that climate change could cause an ice age, but US Vice President Raymond Becker dismisses his concerns. Professor Terry Rapson, an oceanographer of the Headland Center in Scotland, befriends Jack over his views of an inevitable climate shift. When several buoys in the Atlantic Ocean show a severe ocean temperature drop, Rapson concludes Jack's theories are correct. Jack's and Rapson's teams, along with NASA meteorologist Janet Tokata, build a forecast model based on Jack's research. A massive storm system develops in the northern hemisphere, splitting into three gigantic hurricane-like superstorms above Canada, Scotland, and Siberia. The storms pull frozen air from the upper troposphere into their center, flash freezing anything caught in their eyes with temperatures below -150 degrees Fahrenheit. Meanwhile, the weather worsens across the world. Tokyo is struck by a giant hailstorm. Nova Scotia has a 25-foot storm surge in seconds. A 3-helicopter special task force, tasked with rescuing the British royal family from Balmoral Castle, crashes in Scotland after all their fuel lines freeze, and Los Angeles is devastated by a tornado outbreak. Following this, President Blake issues an executive order for the FAA to ground all air traffic across the country. In New York City, Jack's son Sam and his friends Brian Parks and Laura Chapman participate in an academic decathlon where they meet a new friend, JD. New York is soon caught in the North American storm, and the weather becomes progressively more violent, resulting in street flooding and eventually a massive tsunami-like storm surge inundating Manhattan. This forces Sam's group to seek shelter at the New York Public Library, but not before Laura accidentally cuts her leg. While cell phone communications are down, Sam is able to contact Jack and his mother Lucy, a physician, through a working payphone. Jack advises him to stay inside and promises to rescue him. Rapson and his team perish in the European storm, while Lucy remains in a hospital caring for bedridden children, where she and her patients are eventually rescued by the authorities. Upon Jack's suggestion, Blake orders the southern states to be evacuated into Mexico. The northern half are doomed to be hit by the superstorm, but are warned by the government to seek shelters and stay warm. With the storm having reached Washington, Blake perishes after his motorcade is caught in it, making Becker the new president. Jack, Jason, and Frank make their way to New York against all odds. In Pennsylvania, Frank falls through the skylight of a mall that had become covered in snow and sacrifices himself by cutting his rope to prevent his friend from falling in after him. In the library, most survivors, as well as those from other structures, decide to head south once the floodwater outside freezes in spite of Sam's warnings, and are later found fatally frozen by Jack and Jason. Only a few survivors end up taking heed of Sam's advice to stay put, burning books to stay warm as the temperatures plunge. Laura develops blood poisoning from her injury, whereupon Sam, Brian, and JD scour a Russian cargo vessel that had drifted into the city for penicillin, fending off a pack of wolves which had escaped from Central Park Zoo. The eye of the North American storm arrives, freezing Manhattan solid, but Sam's group make it inside just in time. Likewise, Jack and Jason take shelter in an abandoned restaurant. Days later, the superstorms dissipate and Jack and Jason successfully reach the library, finding Sam's group alive. Becker, in his first address as president from the U.S. Embassy in Mexico, apologizes on the Weather Channel for his ignorance and vows to send helicopters to rescue survivors in the northern states. Jack and Sam's group are picked up in Manhattan, where many people have survived. On the International Space Station, astronauts look down in awe at Earth's transformed surface, now with ice sheets extending across the northern hemisphere. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Check out my other videos here. See you later.